Ooh, ah. Oh no, brown cow. Oh no, brown cow. Oh no, brown cow. Lanolin.
Tell me how the four of you became the original lineup of Simplelife.
That recording that we got of that first show that we did, Ben, and Mike did, got recorded to DAT, and it got burned to disc. So we burned it to disc. It was maybe like 7 or 8 songs acoustic, and somehow it fell into like your lap.
I went down. I don't know what the hell. We were at some party that I came down. You're like, hey, listen, you got to listen to this disc that we did that Mark Provenzano recorded. See what you think. I listened to it and went, okay, we have to play together. We got to get a band. We got to do it. So we scheduled the time.
A weekend.
We scheduled the weekend. I bought
in Jim and Rita's basement.
The cheapest recording gear that we could afford at the time.
And it was cheap.
It was cheap. I mean, the board was falling off.
It was cheap.
The board was falling. I had that. We had a effects processor.
Yeah.
And then a mini disc.
Yeah, but the best
disc.
part of that recording was how we did it in Jim and Rita's basement.
Yeah.
We had you and I out in the middle of the basement, and then we had this tiny little bathroom.
We needed
that
to
we
isolate.
used
We needed to isolate, so we plugged the acoustic guitars directly into the board, and we needed to isolate the vocals. And we didn't have a vocal booth because it was in Jim and Rita's basement, right? Just a basement. There's a ping pong table over here, a washing machine over here. We stuck a folding table in the middle of the room with a soundboard on it, and we said, well, we got to isolate the vocals. That bathroom looks like the perfect place for it. So me and Ben and Mike,
all three of us,
crammed into this basement. I'm sitting on the toilet with an acoustic. Mike's standing up facing away from me, and Benny's like crammed in between us holding a microphone. And we recorded 5 songs. We did maybe 3 takes.
Yeah.
3 takes of each song.
But that's how it started. I mean,
the dynamic was instantly
acoustic
there.
show.
Yep.
These guys came and we recorded, and as soon as the first song kicked in with all 4 of us, it was like,
Yeah.
that's it.
And we had
That's what we got to do.
We had Jared on
This could work.
bongos.
Yeah.
This
we
could
did.
work. This is going to work.
Who came up with the name for the band?
So when we did that first acoustic
Capusto
show
was
ever,
the first iteration.
that was you guys.
Yeah.
And then when we did that show at the Boot Inn in Webster, that kind of started the whole thing of writing music. It was just Fresina, Lucas, and Sumner. You know, like Crosby, Stills, and Nash. That was the.
That's a
Fun fact I did
comparison.
not know.
Yeah.
It just doesn't sound nearly as cool.
Fresina, Lucas, and Sumner was the first iteration.
And then we were like, we just can't. That can't be. That can't be the name of the band. So.
we were driving on West Henrietta Road in Rochester by McDonald's. I remember that.
It was
And
probably
we were
a
tossing it
pressure
around.
thing again. Like, oh, we got a gig.
We gotta get a
We got to
name.
come up with a name. Like that's what it always.
Somebody
is.
tossed it out there, and we both were like, okay.
Okay, that works.
They told us, and we did the same thing. Okay, perfect.
It didn't.
care.
It has really zero meaning.
But the songs we felt were not overly complex. They were very straightforward. So the simple, the word simple kind of fit with the whole thing.
Yeah, that's true.
And I feel like we never bought into it. We still haven't bought into the name. And
I still
want
wanna change it.
years. It's 15 years later, and we're still like, should we change the name?
What was the songwriting process like for the first album?
I think the majority of the songwriting was done by Mike. I mean, it was most of those songs.
Yeah, on the first album,
Yeah.
it was a good split though. Benny did a lot of writing on that. You wrote 2 songs on that first album, and a lot of the arranging, and a lot of the bridges.
That's what even the first 2 albums was. There were songs that I would come up with the line for the verse, and he would be like, "Oh, this would be a perfect chorus," and he'd do the chorus. Yeah. So a lot of it was bass root songs coming from an idea that one of us would have, and then the other one would pitch in and be like, "Oh, you should do this here. Or, I hear this here."
Yeah, by the time
And every time we got together, it was we've got
We have
4
a new
more
song.
songs.
Yeah, here's a new song. I mean, they were put together by the time Mike and I got into them. And we just, there were minor tweaks. You know what? Let's take this bridge off here, or let's move it over here, or let's put a stop here. But
So I think when it came time to put the album together,
I do remember
we had
sitting.
a lot of the songs already.
We sat at that
written.
table in Gary's apartment and went through the song list and said, okay, this would
Yeah.
work, this would work, this would work, this one doesn't, this would work, and then we kind of developed those a little bit more.
yeah,
They
they were written. I mean, they were.
the songs were written, but mostly in acoustic form, and there was a period where we said, okay, well, this song's pretty much done. We've played this a bunch of times. We've kind of gone through the parts, and then we'd had songs that were acoustic songs that we hadn't worked out, and then we'd rearrange them and add a bridge or do interesting things with them that weren't on the acoustic recordings.
Right.
So I write most of the songs.
What was the songwriting process? Mike writes them.
Could have been it. Could have been it.
My mind